Chapter 42. And so, the war between Tempest and the entirety of human nations has begun. Before departure, Shizu approached Rimuru calmly. Rimuru-san, I have something to ask you. What is it? Are you capable? Capable of what? The secret art of revival. As Shizu said that, Rimuru almost forgot and answered nonchalantly. Of Su, but thankfully, before finishing his sentence, he remembered Ciel's words at best. The next time Shizu makes a request or asks a question, make sure to reject it. And so, with this in mind, without any hesitation, Rimuru lied. No, there is no way I am capable of such a miracle. Of course, it's impossible. I almost put my dependence on you. Very well, it's nothing. I am just hoping if you did the secret art of revival, then our chances are more higher. Even though, the secret art of revival was a 100% success for Ciel. Only you, Shizu-san, have all the souls of our brethren right now. Rimuru did not utter such words. Instead, yeah, it's impossible to even for me. I see, then farewell. Shizu exhibits no clinginess or uncertainty. She then departed with a transportation circle, completely out of sight of Rimuru. Rimuru approached a departing Diablo and Benimaru team and called out to Diablo. Diablo, I have a request for you. I'll gladly do what you will, my lord. Diablo asked the request in excitation. Are you convinced that you and Benimaru can wipe out the enemies fast and swiftly? Without a doubt, Lord Rimuru. Benimaru and Diablo responded in a unified way. Good, then Benimaru, I wanted you to return to Tempest as fast as possible after exterminating everyone in your way. And, Diablo, I want you to keep a keen eye on Shizu-san. I want you to stop her at all costs in case she lost all her cool. Do not hesitate to give everything you got. Kufufufu, that goes without saying. But what does my lord refer that Lady Shizu might lose control? Because she'll awaken. Diablo did not ask any more. Seems like he got the pretexts of what is meant. The three of us, Benimaru, I, and Diablo have all big smirks on our faces. We were assured of Shizu-san's victory. Her development since Orc Lord has been very remarkable. It's not out of character for her right now, when Ciel-sensei resurrected her. She has crossed the line to grasp humanity's evolutionary zenith. But she lacked the resolve to accept both good and evil. She lacks the willpower, not souls. She'll inevitably crack open the egg with the willpower of wiping countless of her own kind. Though she ascended in the same way that I did, Shizu-san's awakening was now unavoidable. Let's get started, and retrieve what has been taken. Tempest's men dispersed to their war outposts, while Shuna, Mayulan, the humans, and the general forces waited in Tempest. There is a magical crystal at each station that connects to another to cast the neutral zone. The method is similar to Holy Field, but neutral zone is a new innovation by Yuki designed just for Rimuru and his subordinates, putting them at a disadvantage. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Finding a god. I've dwelt once as a peasant in the Farmus kingdom. Life was simple, and joining the national army never occurred to me. However, there was a severe famine. Because of new forms of economic adjustments and major business developments in the country. The country has shunned those of us who labor in agriculture. Farmers have been neglected and emptied, and they have never cared about our welfare. I had a wife and 2 children. I adored my wife the most. She is the foundation of my existence. My wife had the misery of being unhealthy in this chaotic world, and as a result, she was bedridden at an early age. She is merely in her 20s and is bedridden. Our children, thankfully, are supportive to their parents. While I entered the military to support our family, our children took turns watching after their mother. They are truly priceless. I worked hard and was appointed to the Farmus Kingdom's internal force. I also received an A+ in my ranks, putting me on the level with historic champions. My wage has improved, and I've also received prestige. Our lives were continually growing. I came home with pride in my sword, my wife still bedridden but healthier than usual. Everything is becoming better, and our lives are growing better by the day. I spent the money I earned by entering the military on medication for my wife and expenses for my children's education. IIT was that night, a night I'd never forget. I slowly opened the door and witnessed the nightmare from which I would not be able to awaken. Blood. Our small cozy home has been splattered with blood all over it. I dashed into my wife's room and there she was. A small, pointed blade was thrust into her chest. That was the first thing I noticed before anything else. Why? These thoughts crossed my mind several times. Elma, get a hold of yourself. Her right hand twitched, although it was wavering considerably. After then, the hand's movement curtailed as it gestured to a closet. My wife lost her life. I swiftly opened the closet door and noticed one of our two children gently weeping. When she spotted me, she burst into tears and held me tightly. Papa. Behind her, I noticed our other child's body was still and lifeless. I never found out the truth after that. Prior to that tragedy, there was a major uproar and investigation in the Farmus Kingdom. I attempted to question my kid, the lone survivor and witness to the tragedy, but she seemed to be too terrified to respond. Less than notice. Unique skill. Student has been acquired. Greater than. The heavens heeded my prayers. And there, my new unique skill student allows me to prognostic as well as predict. I journeyed back in time, but I am merely a viewer, my skill is inadequate to change the past. I spoke with my wife one last time before she died. Maybe, Luminous was not a god after all. That reply from her surprised me since, while I am not a devout Luminist, my wife is. What are you talking about? That's because, the one who killed me and our child was a Luminist. What? They were envious of your rise through the ranks, so they determined to completely demolish you. However, because of your combat expertise, they opted to destroy your family instead. She paused for a moment, looked at her blanket, then looked back at me again. There is no chance a god could have such vile followers. That's what happened. I'm going to kill them. That wouldn't fix a thing. They didn't leave a single trace behind, and vengeance will only lose you all of the honor you've accomplished all of your life. Who cares about honor? I'm gonna take my revenge. Revenge will never save anything. I will save you. Save me. You have no such power. Your power only consists of a virtual projection of me saying the truth right now to you in a small prognosis. If you use your prognosis, you know you'll only fail. I am not your wife, I am only a projection of your wife born from your given skill. Damn it, I don't know why you are infuriated, but what is done is done. I know that, still, I wanted to save you. This is inhuman. There is no darker place in this universe than the human heart. Maybe, humans are worse than monsters. Quote. You just have to accept it, even your wife agrees. Don't let the need for revenge overtake you. I mean, you're not even interested in her dying desire for you. Dying wish. The virtual projection kissed my lips as if they were real. Please protect our child, I hope someday we will be reunited. I also hope that even though I am not there, you will be my eyes, in witnessing what a true god looks like. She disappeared after that, and my tears suddenly fell. I had no idea how much I missed her. It may be stupid and oppressive, but I let my wife's killers go away. I later discovered that they are quite high up in the Western Church's hierarchy. And fiddling with them puts my only surviving child in danger. Luminism is a powerful religion, and they may wreak mayhem in institutions and other places, thus leaving them alone was the wisest option. Time passes, and my child enters the adolescent stage. She has matured into a delicate lady and is currently enrolled at a key institution in Ingrassia. You might say she had become my pride and hope, but my purpose had remained clear and consistent. It was my final wish for my wife. I don't see why people keep on fighting. Bloomond and Farmus have launched a wide-ranging attack against the kingdom of Monster Tempest. Of course, I have to participate. Perhaps, even though most forces have been put in the western country's borders, I honestly think the most powerful ones have been put in the Farmus Kingdom's posts. I, along with people from the ranks of A+ or Demon Lord Seed classes, am present in Farmus Kingdom's borders. Otherworlders, Champion Raisin, and other veteran captains have been put here. The operation will go on like this. On every border of countries, there will be a placed neutral crystal. If all neutral crystals have been connected, it will form the neutral zone. We have forces on Dworgen, Sarian, Western countries, Bloomond, Farmus, and even distant lands such as the Forgotten City of Dragon. We have successfully achieved Step 1 of the process. Step 1 was to cast a neutral zone barrier all across the Jura Forest. Step 2 will be to smash them with a 1,200,000 strong army that is presently moving from the borders of Western countries and will soon arrive in Tempest. His Majesty King Edmaris will proceed to the battleground after crushing them with the main army to collect the loot of war or the rights to that territory. Because King Edmaris will be stationed here in Farmus, I believe they have stationed all of these top warriors here. But, our hope disappeared instantly. When a god descended upon us. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Or that's the situation on the Tempest-Dworgen border, an army that is overly committed to one side. Even in comparison to other forces, they are a top force. Consists of 10 elite Special A captains and a primary supervising captain who has served for many years and is reputed to be stronger than Hinata was at his peak. The neutral zone is conjured by a crystal on each side of Jura, and in order to break the spell upon Tempest citizens, all of the crystals must be destroyed. However, 30,000 soldiers closely guarded each gem. Dworgen is still on hold and is unaware of the troops' real activities. Neither a call for help from Tempest nor a suggestion for a defensive alliance during the war was welcomed by them. If Tempest injuncts cooperation with Dworgen, then the chances of the human nation's thumping will decrease drastically. The 10 captain knights consist of, or rather even at the top 10, there are 5 supporting mages. And 5 main chivalry forces. An individual who's adept at magic is far superior to anyone in the Western countries, a mage known as Megami Paul. A superhuman with superhuman strength, even with brute force. Even some demon lords do not live up to his strength. He is known as Elliot Karen. A weapon master who can wield 4 weapons at full mastery at the same time. Bow, sword, spear, and whip. Elise Duchamps. A witch is someone who uses dark and forbidden magic. Rather, she is someone who uses the most disgusting magic and was labeled as a beldam. Rosalie Simon. Then, we have Regis Roberts. He is an intellect that knows the bounds of their limit and was the acting strategist. They are really the most elite force on all sides. Thus, they have their veteran captain, who is Emmanuel Forrest. He is an all-around and a direct subordinate of an archduke on the Western Council. And that is not all. They are gathered at a round table in a central large tent in the Dworgen, but then they are having a meeting on the state of affairs of the operation, but then who are you? One supporting mage shouted in confusion. There is one individual in the room that isn't supposed to be there. Even with this elite force, they did not notice such an entrance, making them warier than the guy who entered the room. Kufu. I am not obligated to answer your question. The individual answered while standing up. He is seated at a corner table without anyone noticing his presence. It means, he is listening all the time the meeting was ongoing. What? Who do you think you are? We were very informed about your forces. You were just an archdemon working under a puny demon lord. Kufu, be careful with your words. I may not take it lightly. Diablo threatened. Emmanuel and Diablo just looked at each other. Really? You are not obligated to answer my question, then what makes you think you'll go here unscathed? A soldier threatened. Kufu, that thing must be done with action, not words. Or the very least, I dare you. No need for introduction, just come at me, everything you got. The most elite in the room, the main commander Emmanuel Forrest, signaled his soldier to back off. You must be thinking you are high and mighty just because you are an epitome of the spiritual race. Even archdemons fall over strong humans. Fu, amusing. Then I would like to try your luck by strong humans fighting off strong demons. What do you mean? The captain asked more rigidly. He is provoking the individual, but not carelessly. Meanwhile, the individual just spread both of his arms, creating many openings as possible while looking down on them much less as ants. With open arms, the individual welcomed them with low expectations. Exactly as what I've said. You humans have a very low ceiling sense of power. Just now, my sense of superiority over humans has been shattered. It is not about the race. Are you saying we are not weak in your eyes because we are humans, but because we are just that weak? That's what I am saying. Believe it or not, I am beginning to have a little regard for your race. Regretfully, none of you in this room do have that regard. While Diablo is talking a ton, a powerful mage whispered something to the captain while Diablo is still enjoying his moment with a smirk. Ha 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 ha. The captain began to laugh maniacally. A really bad day for you. Thanks for all your talking, we have managed to sneak an anti-magic area spell. Demons are weaker than humans when it comes to physical strength. Oh really? Then I am too happy for you. Diablo smiled, then his eyes shifted into daggers. Can you humble me, Elliot? Elliot Karen, a superhuman of strength that even demon lords do not live to his strength. Without magic, even archdemons such as yourself without any physical amplification spell demons like will get crushed. Your provocation and self-serving self ends here. In instant, a flash of intense movements flashes on the spectators' sense of vision. Though, their eyes widened in stunner when Elliot, a proud warrior of strength, has been struck by a powerful elbow that pierced right through his abdomen. Not only did the individual achieve such a stunt without any magic physical amplification spell, but also made it look effortless. Your threshold of power is too weak, I see. Elliot's body shook in intense pain. He grabbed the spot where Diablo had struck him, but after a few seconds of pain, he lost consciousness. This has been a surprise for everyone. While Diablo had struck a clean cut from him, Elliot should have been able to still stand up and fight back. Elliot is a bulk of flesh with huge muscles, therefore it was unlikely scene for him to fall under a single shot. Oi, stand up. Elliot's allies tried checking up on him. However, Diablo had remarked something devastating to them. Kufufufufu, he's dead. What? There's no way a fighter of his caliber would fall for such a petty attack. Regardless of how hard your muscles get, your insides are still powerless. After I cut his body's circulation, it began to crumble. Power without cleverness is no competition for me, you see. You cut his body's circulation? Yes, it should be easy by instilling fear signals into his body. What? Kufufufu, you won't understand. Small human brains loathe fear. When a brain is overloaded with fear signals that the human is more capable, the human central nervous system will begin to crumble. Neutron signals will cease and the blood circulation will internally bleed. It is a knowledge you get by tormenting humans for thousands of years. Thousands of years. Don't tell me you are. Captain Emmanuel began to feel the dread under Diablo's statements. Could you cut that crap already? Here I was thinking about why this area of the battlefield was renowned as the strongest on all sides. I was disappointed when I sensed you here. However, Diablo said something else. Captain, what does that individual mean? His generals asked in confusion. The captain remained quiet for a while. Hey, as expected of you, Noir. Even Guy Crimson couldn't sense me. Oh, you were audacious enough to address us by our color names. Do you regard yourself along with the primordials? The colorless demon Ives. To become a greater demon, one must be inherited one of the 7 colors. However, Ives, an unnatural devil, has been an archdemon since the day she was born. Emmanuel Forrest's cells began to shatter. A demon with a little girl appearance with a single black eye emerged from Emmanuel Forrest's shattered body. Fantastic, 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 fantastic. Ah, this is a pleasure. This grandiose warfare is what demons live for. Hey, why aren't you excited? So, why do the great primordial black and the great primordial red stop seeking for blood that demons live for? Wait, PP primordial. The other people in the room, the proud Class A+ individuals, hollered when they were addressed as primordial demons. Ives the colorless demon looked at them and 3 support mages lost their lives in an instant. The surviving others immediately fled. Now, there are no more humans. Now, tell me, why do you loathe warfare now? Kufufufufu, your goals were rather more child's play compared to mine. Are you gonna keep saying that it is for your Rimuru or whatever? Oh, if you knew, you shouldn't have asked in the first place. Do you take me lightly? No, I would have never taken you lightly. You are the best demon out there. You care to inform me about it? Kufufufu, I don't mind, but you must not intervene in our warfare at the moment. Is this a possible deal? Perhaps, maybe if your information was more intriguing than warfare, then I wouldn't mind backing down. Oh, if that's the case, then there is no need to reserve yourself. I promise what I have in mind is really a worthwhile goal that will really amuse you. Okay, then go. You wouldn't ignore this. It was to investigate the Great Spirit Breach. Ives' eyes widened, then giggled. Ah, I see, that is really the ultimate goal. The Great Spirit Breach. Or that's what the demons and spirits have called it. It happened 1,000 years ago. It was a peaceful day. However, the whole world from the overworld all the way to the underworld was then enveloped by a great white light that completely shaped the world into a different one. At that moment, humans thought it was the end of the world. But the white light disappeared and it did nothing. That is simply the surface, though. In actuality, the inherent basis of the universe has undergone several changes as a result of the Great White Light. The Great White Light has provided for the emergence of new magical systems. The angels and demons were able to unlock their restrictions and undergo many more changes, while the grand elementals started to develop egos. The Great White Light also gave birth to the colorless demon Ives, an entity that is the primordial's equal. It is still unknown even for Diablo and Ives what more the Great White Light has changed. But it is inherently the event that changed the world even prior to Rimuru's birth. Others like Guy Crimson just call it the Great Change. Did I captivate your interests? Diablo asked. Yes, I hate to admit, but I must restrain myself in this warfare. But, what does the Great White Light have to do with your master? She asked. My master has been fighting enemies far more superior than what we can imagine. The Great Spirit Breach, the cosmic gods, and Master Rimuru's boundless power. Don't you think it was all connected? Even I don't know for sure. However, I know for a fact that following him will lead me to the truth. Diablo informed. Interesting. In fact, I am born because of the great spirit breach, you may call it, my parent. Exactly. Now then, what will you do? Will you back down? Actually, I'm gonna follow you. Noir, introduce me to your master. It was a sudden declaration she commanded Diablo, while Diablo couldn't hide his surprise. Normally, Diablo would make an outburst because someone has commanded him. But Diablo fully knows the bounds of the colorless demon's strength. She has the high magical amplitude as the yellow demon, a deadly magnitude as the purple, a perfect and wide variety of magic mastery as the white. If there is something hindering her from being the strongest devil, is the fact that she hasn't had a cunning side, and she is a child in the heart that even Diablo finds it hard to pamper. Note: Ives EP unnamed equals Diablo's EP named. Note: Ives is not a name, it was an alias. No way, I am gonna introduce a disgracing demon such as yourself to Rimuru-sama. Diablo completely vetoed the idea. Ah, come on, we are friends, right? Please, please, get off me, I still have a mission to fulfill. She is Diablo's arch-nemesis. Completely childlike and assertive, she is premature psychologically, so much so that Diablo couldn't even manipulate her. Also, when Diablo is trying to explain something to her thousands of years ago, she slept right off the bat, which infuriates Diablo. Thus, she completely clings to Diablo, which Diablo responded by trying to pull her away. Diablo tried everything like running away, hiding, but Ives always found a way to catch Diablo. In the end, Diablo gave up. Ives is crawling on Diablo's sleeves. Okay, I'll make an exception, but you must promise me another thing. Yay, Noir, you are the best. Promise me first that you must act decently in presence of my majesty. Of course. Diablo went out of the tent with Ives in his arms. Yo took you so long. A strong man's voice spoke out as they exit. It was Benimaru on top of a mountain of dead human corpses. The allegedly strongest side was massacred by Benimaru without breaking a sweat. With Rimuru's blessings and Shizu's party, Benimaru and Diablo are undoubtedly two Demon Lord seeds that are already Demon Lord level prior to being awakened. Kufufufu, believe it or not, I spent all of my time talking rather than fighting. Diablo's eyes wandered around, only seeing the top elites being butchered by Benimaru like they are nothing. What are you looking at? They are not as formidable as we expected them to be. And, who is that little lady? Benimaru asks. Just a random demon who seeks Lord Rimuru's protection. And, what about you, Sir Benimaru? Seems like you have exterminated everyone without any difficulty. Believe it or not, they are top echelons warriors, by human standards. Well yeah, as I said, they are not formidable as we imagine. Wait, hold on, let me inspect that child for a sec. Benimaru stated. Oh tilde here catch. Diablo threw Ives towards Benimaru. Ives was not a ball. Ives was also a high-ranking demon. Right. I am already surprised at Diablo, so I am not that surprised anymore. Anything unusual was usual to Lord Rimuru's daily life. Benimaru calmly explained. Right. Diablo approved. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. I've just received a report from Diablo just now. The northern side of the battlefield was completely wiped out with Diablo and Benimaru emerging victorious one-sidedly. Also, I am hearing an unfamiliar voice of a child from the other side. Who is it? I asked. Apparently this thing has been attached to Diablo, sire. That instantly gave me a shiver. How rude. You can just address me Ives, not this thing. I can hear a child whimpering in the background of Benimaru's telepathy. DD, don't tell me. Is it another demon? I asked. Yes, as I heard Benimaru utter such words. Ah tilde, the world is doomed. This devil seeks your protection, my lord. She wants me to grant her a name. Can we reschedule this for another time? Since we are ready to depart. I honestly do not prefer another Diablo though. Well, we can shelter her in the meantime. Great, bring her here. Diablo still has errands to do. Yes, now then, I can have Veldora do some unleashing. I asked Cherries and Beretta to also deal with the remaining side. But, what the heck is this atmosphere? Veldora and Romulus are just busy reading in the middle of a literal war. Hey, take this seriously, I bantered. This is training, Veldora declared. Training? I asked. That's right, I and Mentor are preparing a ton of different techniques we can employ in battle. You may call it researching. Having lots of techniques at your disposal is a must, Rimuru. Romulus reasoned. Romulus is right, my friend. Right now I have so many techniques analyzed that I feel unstoppable. First off, I'm gonna launch a giant SP#R#TB#M# then wipe them up with a few J#S #GOT #NC ###. Then I will finish the fleeing enemies by enabling my Storm Dragon's Bridge #TH style number 5. Spiral ###. Then, if things do not go as planned, we can restart by R#T #RN by D# #TH. No, those things do not exist. You cannot employ them in battle. You hear me? If we lost because of the carelessness, I'm gonna have you run around the town without any food. They just shut up and continued reading. Geez, this is why I am hesitant to introduce Rimuru to Veldora. Because things like this happen. While I was worrying about Veldora and Rimuru's actions, our communication crystal shone brightly. I approached it and triggered it. It instantly displayed a beautiful girl with lush green hair. Trainee-san and her sisters. Great Rimuru, is it true that my queen has migrated to Tempest? She asked in a hurried manner. I looked at Rimuru and pondered whether I should sell her out to Trainee. Wait, we are in a war. Is this all Trainee-san? I asked. Ehime, please excuse me. The Dryads have received information from the south. Demon Lord Milam has completely eradicated the Beast Kingdom. History repeated itself, huh? But what concerns me the most is their refugees. We don't have any connection right now. No, even though their situation was unfortunate. I must suck it up and focus all my attention on what matters to me. Usarania has nothing to do with us. Rimuru-sama. Another thought communication was linked through. But this time the caller was Soe. What's up, Soe? Reporting from the southeast side. The crystal was already broken here. That's fast. Well, I kinda have that information earlier. Soe just did the confirmation. I was in contact with Soka earlier and she had reported how Soe did everything by himself. According to her, Soe had silently set up deadly strings across the enemy's camp. One he called Deadly Embrace. Soe strangled a 30,000-man army in a single second that no one witnessed. Additionally, so according to reports, the whole vast forest of Dragon's Forgotten City resembled a thick cobweb. Many human troops were hanged from the trees, and Soe did not hesitate to slay them all. Good job, Soe. It is nothing exceptional, he replied nonchalantly. As I was in contact with Soe, Veldora suddenly shouted out loud, which startled both of me and Rimuru. Wah! Veldora shudders. Oi, what? I asked. Who? What an amazing cliffhanger. ULT #NST #NC was it. I need to save it to my database. Suddenly my hand started moving on its own. I pointed at Veldora and cast Void God Azathoth. The manga he is holding suddenly disappeared. Hey, take this seriously. Well anyway, come on. It's time for our departure. Veldora sighed, then stood up and leaped closer to me. Rimuru did as well. I cast the time warp. Maybe I'm envious of their laid-back demeanor. I wish I had the calm nature of Veldora and Rimuru. Because I will go and destroy a million innocent souls once more, this time again with my own hands. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Meanwhile, in Sarian's officials have put up the defense forces and police patrols over to the site. They immediately sensed the operation that puts the international borders into disarray, and they protected their land by immediately dispatching teams to fend off the Western forces. On Sarian's royal capital, the elites have gathered. The Empress Elmesia along with archdukes across Sarian are in one meeting room. This is madness. One duke expressed his aggravation. What are they thinking? Coercing with lots of forces in a single time, and they are even messing around with the wrong enemies here. Another duke slammed the table in anger. The West countries should never fight each other. Archduke Elalud shook his head. Really, what mess we really are entangled with. But we can't get answers ourselves, right? Let's go ahead and fortify our forces. Elalud suggested. However, Elmesia was agitated. You called me for this, really? The Sarian's Empress expressed. Our Lady, what do you mean? This is a waste of time, go figure it out yourselves. Elmesia commented and left without hesitation. Some close attendants of Elmesia chuckled as if they expected this scenario, while the dukes are unrelated. While Elalud bears most of the headache. Elalud knows Elmesia as a whimsical yet cautious individual. He knew there is a reason behind all of her actions. Therefore, when she said figure out yourselves means Elmesia already figured out something about this battle. Since Empress was not here, I guess can we appoint Mr. Archduke Elalud as an acting supervisor of this conference? Suggested by some of the attendants. Elalud sighed deeply, then took the role. On it, regardless of what Empress has concluded in her mind. We can all agree it was right to Fortify our forces right. This battle we have entangled with could lead to a great war. And while all of this is happening, I don't even know where Ellen my sweetheart is right now. How dreadful. All of the dukes nodded. There are things only Elmesia can see outside even of the scope of Elalude the tactician brain capabilities. While it was easy to formulate a new plan, it was also ideal to figure out what Elmesia have in mind. Elmesia will never abandon Sarian during rough times, therefore this war that Elmesia concluded small thing is definitely trivial in some way that only she knows. Elalude thinks through and through about this thing. Was it because Sarian was not the target in the first place? Or is Sarian safe and sound? Archdukes, we have received a new report on the field. 100 armed Dragonutes is approaching this way. The door was slammed open with a bang and an immediately reported kneeled and declared. What? Dragonutes? Is it the kingdom of Monster Tempest? Demon Lord Rimuru. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. The spectacle of 100 flying creatures at the highest altitude descending on territory filled them with dread. The western human soldiers gazed up into the sky, fearful of the numerous massive shadows of Dragonutes and dragons circling above them. A single word from a demon lord known as Rimuru created such a terrifying spectacle. The above-mentioned flying creatures moved to the left and right hemispheres. They left the middle hemisphere unoccupied, with just the mighty captain hovering overhead. Gabble is my name, carry it with you unto the grave. He is the site's most powerful Dragonute. He expands his wings, soaring swiftly and expertly. The armies stationed in Sarian, without projectiles and mages, were vastly outmatched. Gabble thrusts the soil, causing it to quake and pulse an explosive impact. He repeated the procedure, flew to the sun, and thrust once more. Because of the way the army in Sarian was organized, they don't have any weapons to resist the onslaught of these flying creatures. The only targets, however, were only the invading troops, and not a single guard from Sarian was hurt. This is a declaration that the Monster Kingdom Tempest does not wish to hold malice with the Sorcery Dynasty. Anti-aerial formation. The troops yelled and devised a response to Gabble's power over them. They are still skilled experts, and they have access to a few technologies. However, the power disparity is too great. While their technology is undeniably excellent, they who lack the capacity to properly employ these technologies are no match for the formidable monsters that are slaughtering them one by one as they struggle on a little place where they have the leisure to observe what was happening on the battlefield. The Dukes of the Sarian couldn't move an inch at what they have witnessed. The force that they have struggled to overtake was eventually slaughtered by 100 Dragonutes in a course of just an hour. It was a terrifying troop sent by Demon Lord Rimuru. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Run. It was an orc lord. The same horrifying scenario repeated on all sides but with different stories. Monsters from Demon Lord Rimuru's chronology wreaked havoc as their master ordered. The Bloomin' Tempest border was in chaos. The field became out of order. The soldiers who tried to retaliate with Tempest have run everywhere and even mixed with civilians. The battlefield spread over a nearby city in Bloomond. However, some soldiers asked in awe, "Why, what is that cursed thing?" They questioned as they run for their lives. They shrieked and pray for help, but no one is answering their prayers. The war began with an earthquake. The Foss's imbalance was exploited by two excellent cavalries of goblin riders to build dispersion in their opponents. Organization. An old ogre never wasted on an opportunity. The lives of the troops he passes by are jeopardized as the monster roams the battlefield. They have no idea what happened, all they know is that they have little wounds on their necks. Despite their modest size, the slices are hazardous deep within, despite their outside appearance. Hakuro hunts these knights with a water-coated blade. He is everywhere on the battlefield. In contrast to human countries that rely on technology, they have demonstrated an astounding utilization of skills. This Monster Kingdom of Tempest Brigade utilized its abilities to effectively face its opponents. The cavalry of goblin riders is noteworthy. While not possessing the finest magical counter gear compared to the elites, they have a latent skill that is undeniably exceptional. While cavalry soldiers are magnificent, they are not invincible. No forces are invincible in combat. Cavalry is weaker than spear-wielding infantry but stronger than archers. According to these laws, no unit type is invincible. However, Gobta and Rigyur have unrivaled cavalry abilities. The limitation of cavalry is their reliance on incapacitated creatures such as horses, which limits their adaptability and agility. Rigyur and Gobta, on the other hand, use pack monsters with which they can communicate. They also use a skill called Unify, which unites their mind and spirit with their pack monsters. They are agile and move as quickly as the wind to the battlefield. Chaos Eater. Geld, on the other hand, was truly frightening. While Geld is a loving and compassionate leader for his brothers, it's frightening to witness how he battles on the battlefield when Tempest calls him. The survivors of Hekuro and the Goblin duo's onslaught have fled everywhere, but Chaos Eater is a homing skill that does not stop until it has seized its victims. By using Chaos Eater as an attack spell and starve to weaken his opponents. That is how Geld can destroy an army by himself. Hekuro sliced the crystal open. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Fuse cannot believe what he has seen. A complete victory. Do you want something with us, Sir Fuse? Hekuro sensed Fuse hiding. Fuse snickered. I guess there are no things hiding from you guys. Fuse revealed himself and walked towards them. However, before Fuse could get anywhere closer, Hekuro pointed his blade at him. I heard that Bloomond was the real instigator of this warfare, speak. Fuse and Hekuro intently stared at each other. He gave up and irritatedly scratches his back head. Yes, that's what I have confirmed. Seems like the Bloomond royalties have been manipulated. Manipulated. Yes, a small nation of Bloomond will not dare to instigate warfare. Most likely, this is a manipulated warfare to bring Bloomond into ruins. What did you say? This is such a terrifying strategy to face. Manipulating a nation to wage a war, not to destroy the other nation but destroy the nation who have waged a war. This time, it was Geld who was caught off guard. This method is not spectacular, but it takes the evilest guy alive to even consider implementing it. Perhaps Geld was surprised since it was equivalent to devouring one's brethren in order to complete something. Rimuru always claimed that the most horrible deed is to consume one's brethren in order to attain power. And do you have any grounds for these claims? Hekuro asked. Like Bloomond, I as well do not like to hold hostility. If you like, I would like to represent Bloomond to Sire Rimuru if you allow me to be in his presence. While saying that, Fuse gave a piece of paper to Hekuro. The paper was a letter from a count that directly works for the royalties of Bloomond. Hekuro's eyes widened in surprise. Warfare was not authorized by the barons to the upper nobility. The king has gone crazy. We were summoned to the conference table, where the monarch is present and prosecuting the order for exploiting of the monster kingdom's development. We couldn't do anything since it was an executive order. The king is in communication with another instigator, Farmus King Edmaris. The king is always righteous and would go to any length for his country. Until he came into contact with that accursed merchant from the east. So all of the nations are on their sights on us, not just Bloomond and Farmus, the organization Western Saints Church, Eastern Empire, Demon Lords, and powerful organizations from the west have their sights on us. It was an out of character, but Hekuro is shouting after reading the letter. I pity them, regardless of who the enemy is. They will enrage the very last creature from this world whom they should never awaken its anger. The death they will experience will not be an easy one. Anyway, we are going back to Tempest now. Rigure made the atmosphere lighter. You are not going to other sides? Asked Fuse. That won't be necessary. Why? That's because our brethren are winning on every single side right now. Oi, I know how powerful you are, but it takes a man who loses all sanity to believe that you guys are completely winning without a single casualty, you know. Then, start losing your sanity now, Sir Fuse, ha ha ha. Hekuro said that and started walking away. Shall we go then? We need to tidy up the capital of Tempest. We need soldiers there while the laborers do their job of repairing and renovating the place. Also, we need to protect the capital where the ritual spell will take place. I did not get a single thing they said, but let's just go. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. The battlefield of all sides is beginning to close its curtain. Tempest, despite being outnumbered, has been conquering each side with relative ease. And it happened again, but this time worse. Cherries and Beretta, they have successfully burned everyone to the ground. It was a relentless slaughter with no conversation. They attack the Gistov side and sweep the floor with them. While Cherries, equal to a greater spirit, Beretta after being named now, was on the level of an archdemon. Both of them would usually just be a caretaker of their masters. But now they are on a barren land full of human corpses. However, not all side was a clean cut from total domination. After cleaning up the humans, two of these individuals appeared before them. Facing them were individuals known as Vega and Miranda. But what agitates Beretta and Cherries was how these two have the power of the angels. A showdown between spirit, demons, and angels, huh? Beretta muttered. Take this flare circle. A powerful outward fire surge erupts from both Miranda and Vega's feet. They sprinted and dodged before the blast, but it was a continuous flare circle that would continue to create as they evaded. Vega, use your skill now. Miranda commanded Vega. Quote. Lord of Weapons. Vega continued to go on the attack, although from a disadvantage due to constantly evading Flare Circle. Yet, he had created a god-grade weapon that outmatched Beretta and Cherry's current capabilities. Vega's weapon slashes through magical circles and spells, while Beretta's reverser is inefficient since Beretta can only replicate and form his body with up to a rare grade weapon compared to Vega's god-class weapons. Vega flails at Beretta, and Beretta responds by inventing his own weapons to deflect Vega's attack. His weapons, however, were completely crushed and shattered as he attempted. Meanwhile, Beretta and Cherries are growing stronger as they fight. True, their might is falling beneath Vega's radar, but Beretta and Cherries have devised cunning tactics to gain an advantage in their fight. Beretta makes use of his body's power to shape and deform. His body began to liquefy, and he started attacking in an unusual manner, liquefying first, then attacking, then liquefying again, then attacking. It was a wise decision that rendered Beretta unpredictable even for Vega. Beretta is liquefying all parts of his body while solidifying a sharp blade. All of this is happening while Vega is still dodging Flare Circle. The fact that Veldora was the one who named Cherries makes the fact that he had gained immense magicals for his disposal. Vega began to step back and dash away from Beretta. However, Beretta did not let this happen. Beretta pursued Vega. Vega tried fighting back as he faces Beretta's deadly assault. Vega pointed his blade toward Beretta. That's it, Vega, you're stronger than him. You are more powerful than he is. In a head-on collision, he will lose. Kill him, and we'll fulfill our Lord's wishes. Miranda shouted while observing their fight. Beretta took the challenge and charged forward. Vega was the same, charging his weapon at Beretta, certain that he had to win. They did not, however, anticipate a flare circle to emerge in the air near Vega's right hand. The flare circle landed on Vega's right hand, burning his hand and disabling his weapon. Beretta created a long blade and plunged it into Vega's heart, severing it. Beretta and Cherries vanquish a more powerful opponent. Vega's form dissipates into magicals. That however was not true. Time's up anyway, Miranda muttered. You were lost, Cherries added. HMPH ha ha ha, don't make me laugh. This is only the beginning of our great war. Beretta intervened by asking, what do you mean time's up? This warfare is within the wild imagination of our Lord. You, a greater demon from the black lineage, should be able to recognize why time is already up. Miranda explained and then added, don't worry, it won't be the last time. You'll have to deal with Vega again. After all, you were only fighting his multiple existence. Your master was the one accountable for alterations made from this world. Demon Lord Rimuru's retainers remember this day. Miranda flew away revealing her angelic wings. What does she mean? Asked Cherries. Then Beretta answered, the progenitor red is on its way to our town. To be continued.